Hi everyone, it's Hamsa Sandra, and today we're doing kind of a authentic self video. And part of my authentic self is I'm actually coming on camera without a stitch of makeup on. My hair is just pulled back and sprayed back. And it's kind of a get to know me a little bit to tag, because I'm very much about being authentic self. After all, I am human. Even as a light worker, I do very human things. So I actually comprised a list of 21 things today, and I I guess you consider this a tag video if you wanted to, because I kind of gathered different tags from different tags that are out there on the internet, and then I kind of threw in my own tags, and I've titled it, Yes, I Am Human. So this is the Yes, I Am Human tag. You're more than welcome to do this tag as well if you wanted to. Please subscribe and please post your videos. I would love to see them. Also, I will list the questions of the tag down in the comment or in the little description box below. So, the first question is my YouTube username. How did I get it? Well, I go by Hamsa Sandra in my light work. My website is hamsa808.com. I got Hamsa is because I'm going to actually do a big old blog post and probably another video. The reason why I chose Hamsa, because it's really, really long, and it has to do with how the symbol of the Hamsa goes throughout all different religions, and it's a very, very powerful symbol. So I'm actually going to put that in a totally different video in itself. The reason why I chose 808 as far as Hamsa 808, 808 is the area code of Hawaii, where I like to go in Hawaii, actually one of the places in Hawaii. And that is kind of what I would consider my spiritual home. So the two just kind of mixed together, and that's how I came up with Hamsa 808. Hamsa, Sandra is my first name, just kind of went together. So that's how I came up with my YouTube username. Number 2, if I can go back and give my younger self advice, what it would be. I'm not as crazy as what I thought I was when I was a kid. I was very, I didn't have the greatest childhood, but I learned a lot from that childhood, even though it was so horrible and I moved around so much, and I didn't have the greatest, I guess you can say, home life either. But I learned from those experiences, and I moved forward from those experiences. And even when I was teaching with kids as an adult, and the kids would sit there and complain like, oh, I'm getting ready to move again. On the average, I moved every 6 months when I was a kid, especially towards like my high school years. I went to 8 different high schools. I hated it. It drove me insane. And then as an adult, I got to work with military youth, and one of the biggest complaints I always sat there and said is like, you know, I'm getting ready to move. I'm going to be missing my friends. Well, in today's day and age, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have cell phones. There's that line of communication, so it's so easier to communicate now than it was then. And I think for myself, even though I lost contact with a lot of those friends when I was a kid, the ones that stayed true are still in my life today. So what I thought was so significant when I was younger really wasn't. And I think that's what I would sit there and tell my younger self. What you thought was so big and grandeur and significant, it really wasn't. Okay, so number 3, what did I want to be when I was younger? Basically what I wanted to be when I was a kid. I actually had a couple things I wanted to do. One is I wanted to be an astronaut. That was like the foremost thing I ever wanted to do, is I wanted to become an astronaut. And that was when I was really, 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 really small. And then as I got older, I was on Yearbook and Newspaper, and I thought, oh, journalism would be my thing to do. I wanted to go into journalism. And actually, when I was joining up for the military, that was what I was trying to do, is get into the journalism program. However, the journalism program was closed. The public affairs program was closed. And my scores were really high, so I ended up actually being an imagery analyst in the military, which is a whole weird thing, which now when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's why I was kind of good at it. But I ended up being an imagery analyst in the military, and completely opposite of what I wanted to go in the military for. And then the other thing I wanted to do was to be a fashion designer. As I was a teenager, this is kind of an embarrassing thing, but it's not really embarrassing. As a teenager, I had Barbies that I would design a new fashion outfit every single week. I would design it, dress her up, do her hair, and like put it up on my shelf, and that was her design for the whole entire week. Now flash forward many years later, I ended up doing makeup artistry and doing creative directing work for the fashion industry. So I think it's kind of funny that those kind of two ended up kind of coinciding as what I wanted to do. But yeah, so I was very blessed to have that part in my life, but it was a dream for me to do, and I actually got to work with a lot of fashion designers, a lot of fashion shows, fashion shoots, publications, indie films, theater work. So I was very, very blessed to have that part in my life, and I enjoyed it immensely. And I got to basically do a lot of real life dolls, as you can sit there and say. So that was kind of fun. However, I'm not doing that anymore due to my health, unfortunately. So, but you know, that's part of life. You go through your phases in life. So, number 4 was, when did I always know that I had gifts? So this goes back into the lightworker part of me. It's funny that I think I didn't really know what gifts were probably until my 20s. I always knew that I was different as a kid because I knew things around me weren't normal. So I have to say, though, in my 20s is when I realized that I actually had gifts, and that I really started honing my gifts was in my 20s and my 30s, and I'm in my 40s now. So I think that's just kind of, it has been a progression. And I still learn every single day, and as a light worker, you should learn every single day, and you should hone your gifts daily, and should work on yourself daily, because you're not only helping yourself, but you can't help anyone else unless you can help yourself. So that is definitely important. Number 5 is, what's more important, love, fame, power, or money? I would definitely have to say love. I'm a firm believer that love is all you need at times. Fame can go away, power can go away, and money can go away, but as long as you have love, that is what is important. Number 6, what is the most difficult word for you to pronounce? I was kind of like laughing when I was writing these questions down, because I have problems with my pronunciations due to my ataxia. I have a genetic disorder, and it's a form of ataxia that affects my ion channels, and I can get into long. I think I'm just gonna post the link below to my blog on living with a channelopathy, because I have a couple things that I live with. But I've had problems with my pronunciations of my words all my life, and I've been quite embarrassed about it, and I kind of like brushed it underneath the rug, and I'm like, it's not that I'm like stupid, I don't know how to say it, it's just I had problems saying the word. So, cinnamon, I think I said it correctly, and aluminum are the two that I actually practiced those before I said them. Like, I have to sit there and say them in my head, are like the two, I guess, common words that everybody has problems with. So I definitely have problems with those words as well, but I have to say them over and over in my head before I speak them. So if you have problems with pronunciations, that's how you do it. Say it over in your head a few times before actually saying it. But if I was just to sit there and have a conversation and try to say the word, I'm going to mess it up. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to mess it up. So, number 7 is reoccurring dreams, and if so, explain. I've always had reoccurring dreams of flying because I'm a dream traveler and a lucid dreamer. So I've always had those type of reoccurring dreams. I've had a dream that has been very pronounced throughout my life. I want to say every 10 years or so, I have the same dream where I'm traveling down a road, pronunciations again, a road, and there's houses, and I'm going in and out of those houses. And I've realized over the years it's realm traveling, but it goes into this road. And it's funny because I always use road analogies when I talk about the journey of life. So go figure, I would be dreaming about roads. So number 8 is, what is my sign? This is so cliche. I'm an Aquarius, but I was born on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. And that's my sign. Number 9, if you could write a book, what would it be and what about? I have friends, and one in particular, Latasha, I'm calling you out here. She's been trying to get me to write a skincare book because of all my years of working in the makeup artistry and stuff and working on skin, I am very much into natural like skincare. And when I create things, I speak to spirits, so things just kind of happen and I create things. So she's been wanting me to do a skincare recipe book, which I have thought about writing. And probably will write it. I don't know for sure. It's just so hard to get into that business because of editing and editors and blah blah blah. I have written a book, so to sorts. It's actually kind of more of a memoir book, I guess you can sit there and say. I never really titled it. It was something I just personally had to do for myself, and it was about my childhood. It was just stuff that I had to unload out of my brain, and it was the most healing thing that I've ever done in my life. And me writing that actually did a chain of events where I was able to heal from the past issues that had happened to me. And so yeah, it was very therapeutic. So, but I never titled it, but it's something that, yes, I did write for myself, and I still have the book, and I don't know if I would ever like do a publication of it. I really don't know. Maybe many years down the road I might. I don't know. So we'll see. I'll let you know. And number 10 is, what makes me cry? Missing people makes me cry a lot. Yeah, I would say missing people. When I think about my kids, I tend to cry quite a bit because I miss my kids quite a bit. And when I'm missing family, I do cry. I'm a very, very sentimental person, and that makes me very human as well. But yeah, definitely those are what makes me cry, is when I'm missing somebody, definitely. What makes me angry? Oh, what makes me angry? I want to say stupidity, but that's like a generalization. I should sit there and state that what really makes me angry is the lack of respect that people have towards each other. That will anger me across the board in general. I look at the world today and I'm just like, because there's just so much of lack of respect for one another. And when I get disrespected, it makes me angry too as well. We're going to talk about how I deal with that here in a few questions. But yeah, I would have to say a lack of respect towards each other. That's what makes me very angry. And people that abuse other people, and of course that has to go back to respect. That's like a general thing of respect. So yeah, that makes me super, 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 super angry. What makes me happy? Spending time with my family, my best friend, just being silly. I could have the most crappiest day, and I'll spend a time with my best friends, and it makes me so happy. Or going down to the beach, going down near water, just taking that time out for myself makes me happy. It makes me smile. It'll be something so like silly, stupid, but it makes me happy, and that's all that matters, is it makes me happy. Little things make me happy too as well. Seeing somebody do something kind for another will make me happy. And that will make me actually cry too. When I see another human being touch another human being in a way that it makes a change in their life, that makes me, I'll cry. I'm silly. Okay, number 13 is, how do I deal with stress? I meditate a lot. Meditation is definitely one of my number one things of how I deal with stress. I deal with stress every single day, especially with my health, and just, everybody goes through their normal stressors. So meditation really helps me with my stress. I also like to color mandalas, and then I'll just do something nice, like random acts of kindness, will help with my stress. So me doing stuff for somebody else actually helps me with my stress. So that's how I deal with my stress. Number 14, what am I most grateful for? Having a roof over my head, I would have to definitely say, is the thing I'm most grateful for. And I'm looking at my camera, so if I stop this, because it's like counting down, I don't know what's going on with my camera. But anyways, I have to say, having a roof over my head and being very blessed also for my life as an adult. I've been able to travel the world, and well, not travel the world in so much a sense, but I've been able to live overseas, and I've gotten to have a lot of experiences that I thought I never would have as a child. So that is definitely one thing that I am grateful for. Okay, 15, the last person to call. That would be one of my best friends. She is in Iowa right now, but I knew her in Texas, and that would be Rita. She's the last person that called me. Last person to text was actually at 4:19 a.m. And the reason why it was 4:19 a.m. is because Amy is currently in France right now. She just recently got engaged, and I kind of knew what was going on, so I'm like, is this official now? And she's like, yeah, the ring makes it official. So I was congratulating her. So that was my last text. Number 17, the last person to say I love you, and that was my husband just a little while ago. We always say we love each other, and we kiss each other before he goes to work. Number 18, if I won $1 million, would I leave my job? Well, considering I left my job not because of $1 million, but because of health issues, I would love to have $1 million in my bank account. We'll just put it that way. I wouldn't have some of the financial stress that I have right now. So $1 million in my bank account would be awesome. And number 19, what's the difference between being alive and truly living? That is a good question, and I need to stop my camera because my camera is beeping at me. So let me stop the camera, and then I'm gonna post back on the camera. Okay, so I realize my camera has a 20-minute limit. Now I know. So the question that we were talking about is, what's the difference between being alive and truly living? I think being alive is when you just don't do anything. You're just kind of existing. I see, unfortunately, a lot of people do this where they just kind of just go about their day and they just don't do anything. And I don't feel like that's truly living. I think truly living is where you do stuff for yourself, and when you do stuff for yourself, you do acts for others. So when you get sitting on the couch and just watching TV and just continuing doing that daily that's just kind of like being alive. You're not really contributing to anything except for just being a lump on the couch. And I hate phrasing it that way, but this is just my opinion. You can still, and I do this a lot, because I have bad days where I'm the lump on the log and I'm watching TV, but I try to do stuff if it's coloring something or working on a project, that I can make an impact on somebody else's life. That is kind of true living. Even though your circumstances aren't like the greatest at the moment in time, you can still do stuff to kind of contribute. So if it's traveling, awesome. If you can travel, wonderful. I highly suggest traveling. Traveling, you truly live, because you not only touch yourself as far as your life, but you also touch and share those experiences with other people, so you can touch other people's lives. If it's volunteering, I'm all for volunteerism. I used to volunteer, and volunteering is a wonderful way to truly live. So I think for me is when, I guess the point I'm trying to say is being alive is just kind of, you're just there. When you're truly living, you're there, but you're also being a service to yourself and to others. So that to me is truly living. And you can do it. I mean, just don't think that because your circumstances that you're just like, I mean, if you like to draw, or, you know, one of the things I'm kind of doing right now, because I haven't been feeling good this week, is I've been doing mandalas, and I take what you need, and I've been writing stuff. You can write that and like post it around your town, and it's actually quite refreshing, and it's part of truly living. But that's just my opinion. So everybody has their own opinion about 19. 20. Why am I who I am? I think the reason why I am who I am, despite how horrible my childhood was, I always looked forward. And I keep looking forward no matter what my circumstances are. And honestly, I had to do a lot of hard lessons in life. My 20s, I was a mess. But I knew that, I'm trying to explain this in words. This was a tough question. When I wrote down this question, I'm like, this is going to be a tough question to sit there and answer. Because you really have to look within yourself when you're answering this question. And this is one of the things that I do practice with people when I work with people, is actually looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you're a good person and that you are loved and that somebody loves you. It is the most hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. And I had to learn that lesson, and it was definitely one of those things that made me who I am. Is I had to look at myself within myself and realized that the universe put me here on this earth despite all my circumstances because I'm meant to be here. I'm definitely a good person, and that I also touch other people's lives, and that is why I'm here, and this is the reason why I am who I am. And I'm not here to please everybody. I am just here to be me. And that is who I am. And I think that's a lesson that everybody can sit there and take. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to do this tag. It's because it is about being your authentic self. There is some silly questions that are in there. But behind the cameras, the lights, behind it all, who are you truly? And this is who I am, and this is why I started this channel, is because this was my calling, is to do readings for other people's and to give you whatever the Spirit tells me to give you, and this is why I am who I am. So the last question, 21, is what are the things that you never leave home without besides your cell phone, keys, and wallet? Because I think that's a generalization. Everybody leaves with their cell phone, keys, or wallet. I actually have a couple of things, and one is my medical alert bracelet. This is a USB style because I have some very severe things that are wrong with me, so the medical professions can just plug it in and they know who I am, they have my picture, they have my medical information, they have my doctor's information, and they know that I'm not having a stroke, because there's been times where it looks like I'm having a stroke even though I'm not, and they didn't know who I was. And then the next thing is my mala beads. This is just one of my mala beads. I always wear some type of mala beads. This is just one that I have right now. And this is kind of like another one that I used to wear quite a bit. And then I have a couple of Buddha necklaces that I always try to wear when I leave home. And this is one. And then on the back, my husband and I put our intentions in it. And this is from the Dharma shop, which I will link below. And then lastly, lastly, I have a little pouch of stones that I normally will throw in my top or in my pocket. I normally throw it actually in my bra, to be honest with you. But I have a little pouch of stones that I carry with me, especially if I know that I'm going to be working with like different personalities and stuff. It's a lot of like protection stones and stuff that it's just makes me feel better. So those are the 21 questions of Yes, I Am Human. I will post them below, and I would love to see other people start to do this tag as well, because this is about being your authentic self. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and sorry the video is so long, but you know, sometimes the questions are long. But this is you getting to know me a little bit further. Like I said, my YouTube channel is very new. You can always find me on Hamsa808.com, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys so much again, and wish you guys all love and light, and I will see you all later. Bye.